One of the reasons I was really excited to watch the remake of West Side Story, Mr. Lenny, is because I wanted to see if us Puerto Ricans would get a little bit better representation.
Well, I would hope so. It's been 60 years.
The original, of course, came out in 1961. And so, disclosure, I'm 100% Puerto Rican. Lenny here is...
I am right down the middle.
So, we might be a little bit biased in our review here of Steven Spielberg's 2021 West Side Story, which is coming up in a few.
It was a masterpiece. I mean, I'm gonna give it 5 reels for sure. What?
So for those of you who have seen the 1961 original West Side Story, you're basically getting the same plot. You're getting everything generally the same except for some updates, and they seamlessly update it. I mean, and of course, if you've seen Romeo and Juliet, sorry to spoil it, but pretty much everyone knows the story. It is
kind of beat by beat.
It is an adaptation of a modern adaptation of Romeo and Juliet. So yeah, you have these two characters, who are from opposite sides of the tracks. It's based like in 1950s New York. You have this fight over a territory. Also they're trying to bring up this Lincoln Center, which is trying to push the poor segment of the society out in that area. And then there's a love story that brews in that between the Anglos and the Puerto Ricans, and that's
the Gringos and the Spicks.
The Gringos and the Spicks. And yeah, so you get Romeo and Juliet, the Montagues versus the Capulets.
And the lovers are Tony, of course,
and Maria,
Anton and Maria, right?
And Maria,
on the Puerto Rican side, yeah. So you mentioned that this movie has updates, right?
Right.
Compared to the original, and that's kind of like a good starting point for me, because I was really trying to focus on the differences between the original and this movie. And I just want to start off by saying that if you are a fan of the original, I feel like you're going to love this movie even more. I think that
because
it
it's
is
better.
As good, if it even surpasses the original, because this movie just overall feels more polished. And I love the contextualizations of the scenes and how the scenes were immersive in using the surroundings of the city. This movie got that better than the original. The original felt a little bit more stagey, like a Broadway musical, but this one felt like everything was integrated into the surroundings.
It's more of a movie than so much a play, right?
Than the original. The original also felt a little bit like grittier and serious, and I welcomed that this movie had some more lighthearted moments and even some comedy, some low-key comedy moments, even though a lot of the conflicts can be quite, dark. And overall, I was a big fan of this movie. And, well, I guess before, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I was just waiting for you to finish, because you're on such a good roll. So, no, I would just say that the one thing that strikes me is how updated it is. You mentioned that a lot. There's some really good representation, and it gives it a more natural feel to this movie.
Yeah, that is a good point. And to add on to that, I loved how they integrated actual Puerto Rican phrases and idioms throughout the movie, seamlessly throughout.
And the accents were on point.
Throughout. The accents were on point. They did sound Puerto Rican, which is something very different from the original movie as well. And so, of course, me being Puerto Rican, I was having a field day enjoying that because it felt very much like home.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's so familiar.
And even the curse words, because we have such a notoriety for like
coño, carajo, and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's all that stuff,
Yeah.
So, and I think it's brilliant that they made the decision to exclude the subtitles when they did speak in Spanish, because it just goes to prove that you can just use context clues to really understand what's happening. And they didn't overpower it with the inclusion of the phrasing in Spanish, but it was enough, and it was a lot, and it was great to kind of feel the culture alive in the movie. So that was really cool.
I think the one thing thing that strikes me the most, and probably most people, is the production value of this movie.
Oh, yeah.
How it is shot. I'm going to say right now,
Go to town.
this is easily the most well-made movie
Of the year.
of the year.
Yeah.
Easily. When from the opening
Dune.
scenes,
You got some competition.
I know. From the opening scenes, you know, they do this visual storytelling with sounds and snaps. You know, the camera angles, you know, they're used so well to where you could take any scene and make that into a portrait.
Yep. Yeah, everything looks beautiful. The lighting, everything is very energetic and visually arresting, and they make great use of the backgrounds once again, and you know, everything around them, the costumes, and to have some awesome dance sequences and singing sequences, which in some cases are even better than the original. Very high energy, very good choreography. The production value is top notch. It's probably going to win Oscars in some of those
It will win
categories,
Oscars.
for
It
sure. For sure. One more thing I will add. I mean, we really haven't talked about the actors, so let's kind of quickly mention. Or
I just kind of wrap up the techniques.
Oh, go
'cause,
ahead.
I mean, it's such a heavy part of this movie.
It is. Go ahead.
You know, obviously you talked about the light. You mentioned the lighting, right?
Yeah.
They do a lot of what's called lens flares, and it really enhances the mood and it augments the scenes and the characters. Maybe sometimes a little overdone after a while, but for the most part, it is what you would expect from a Spielberg movie. I mean, you watch this and you feel like you're watching E.T.
Oh yeah,
You know,
he does it in Saving Private Ryan. He does it in so many of his movies, and it's very much a Spielberg film, and it is not void of Spielberg sentiments. You can see the Spielberg innocence throughout, which I always enjoy.
And the way the sound is integrated into the scenes.
Right.
The last thing, I know we're going on and on, I apologize, but the set compositions are works of art because if you think about the way they walk, the conversations, how they're constructed, everything is harmonious and rhythmic in this movie, which is very musical. So sorry, no more about the techniques.
Dude, just very well said, man. No, that really, you're giving justice to this movie, and so that's all great observations. Moving on to the acting, going into this movie, I had to think about, you know, Rita Moreno was such a staple and such a big deal with the original movie, or in the original movie.
Multi-threat.
And so going in, I was like, who's playing Anita? Ariana DeBose. Is she going to fill those shoes? Is she going to be better? And oh my goodness, she knocked it out of the park. She did something different, and she was so good in it. In fact, every actor in this movie is really good, if not even better than the acting in the original. Every single one of them. I am happy to report that Ansel Elgort playing Tony and Rachel Zegler playing Maria did their own singing, and it was beautiful. Especially Zegler's voice is beautiful. In the original, Natalie Wood did not do her own singing, and they did that often in old, musicals. They often, dubbed over and stuff when actors couldn't really sing. Also glad that Rita Moreno was given a role in this movie as Valentina. And I want
to see more of her.
I really wonder if they're going to give her enough screen time to really have her shine, and they did. She has great moments in this movie, and that was very pleasant to witness. And so one thing more, I know I have a lot, but it's because one thing more is that I really felt that a really important and good update was that they explored more nuances and conflicts in the wake of the love story between Maria and Tony. In the original, it seemed very black and white, their love. But in this one, they included some scenes, like there's a scene in a church, for example, where they have these little discussions about, well, I love you, but it's not quite that simple. But, and
the ramifications
and how it affects the people around them and everything. And so that was very good as well.
Okay. All right. Now, as far as the acting, I will counter with, I thought that Ansel Elgort was not the best singer. Obviously, he's talented.
Oh, comparatively speaking, I suppose. Yeah.
He gets overshadowed. Everyone's so good in this movie,
Yeah.
I kind of felt like at times he was a little wooden, but he's not bad. I mean, he's still a really good actor, and I'm sure the ladies will love him because he's attractive, Zegler, I thought for her age, being younger than 20 was outstanding, with very little acting experience at all.
Right.
Her voice, like you said, is very operatic, and it was spectacular, guys. Ariana DeBose as Anita, to me, was hands down the best actor in this movie. She will get nominated. If she's not, then the Oscars need to reevaluate themselves. And lastly, I thought the actors for Bernardo, David Alvarez,
David
and for
Alvarez.
Riff, like the villain, right? Michael Feist, I guess is how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
Very nuanced characters. Like you said, very well acted overall. And
Overall,
that's-
yes,
just say
and that is all I have to say because I know we've gone on a rant here, but
We sure
it is
have.
a very good movie. Let's move on to our real rating here.
Okay.
Drum roll.
Okay, so I will say that obviously this jumps out as being, very fun and visually pleasing. Okay. What I like that they did in this movie that really anchored it for me and made me say, okay, this is more than just a feast for the eyes, is that they use the songs in such a way, it is a social commentary.
Very much.
They explore the different factions, right? Some of them come from broken families. There's a lot of racism. There's
Prejudice.
social classes explored. It's an all-around really good movie for me. I'm going to say that this is easily 5 reels easily, and I can't remember the last time I gave a movie 5 reels in 2021.
No, yeah, I mean, this is a movie that definitely is perfect for any time throughout the year, but definitely take your family to see this during the holidays. It is a treat. It is very... It's a joy to watch. It's festive, and I completely 100% agree with you. When I finished watching this movie, I even got teary-eyed watching it. And when I finished watching it, I was like, "Wow, that was good." And I was glad once again that they polished it up, and even the ending feels like just really a very strong ending. I know you commented that it might have felt a little bit...
Oh, I don't want to give that away, but I did feel something about the ending. That didn't sit well with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But I thought it was a great finale, so I am also going to give West Side Story 2021 5 reels.
Did you feel
it's so
did you
good?
think it felt its length at all?
No, I
did because it was...
Well, see, the thing is that it's difficult not to compare it to the original, and everything about this movie was just better, including the pacing. And the original for me dragged in places. This movie felt really clean, so I never got bored watching it.
I think I just felt, because it was midnight and I was tired, and I was like, I want to go to bed.
Well, we would love to hear what you think about the remake of West Side Story, Spielberg's new masterpiece in our minds anyway. Don't forget to look us up on social media. We're on TikTok and Facebook at Real Screeners, Instagram, real.screeners.
And don't forget to subscribe, guys, if you like our videos, and then smash that like button. It really helps the algorithm to help us. We definitely appreciate that. Oh, and hit that bell button so that you know every time we upload a video.
Yes, and look up our merchandise at realscreeners.com. Some hot new items and designs just ready,
Good stuff.
Good for the holidays.
These are our 2 latest designs
Yes.
here. Harry Potter meets Stranger Things, and Darth Vader meets just about every villain you can think of.
And
so definitely check it out.
Don't forget to hit us up next time for our next real take on movies.